Yeah.
You are a son of a bitch.
Un saluto a tutti.
Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing today? This is what's becoming our West Coast shows, we like to call them, okay? And I had Matteo on probably about a month ago. Obviously, Matteo and Giulio are part of Juventus official fan club Hollywood, and now's a busy time, and we're getting ready for the U.S. tour. You guys, how are you doing?
We're doing great.
Well, I had to deal with Giulio, so it's fine.
Yeah. These guys were already going at it in the green room because of the jersey, and Giulio won't tell Matteo why he's wearing this jersey tonight. Matteo wants it off. We got to find out, Giulio, why? Why this jersey?
Well, it's in honor of a player that is leaving us.
Oh,
Oh,
Panita.
yeah, about time. Se ne va, panita se ne va.
Oh,
There
God.
you go. So we're gonna have to.
Enough is Mike.
I completely forgot about that. You're right. Jeez.
We're gonna have to talk a little bit about Panita too at some point today, but obviously.
Sure.
Mercato, that's the big one. We are going to talk about the U.S. tour, and that's actually where I met these guys last year in Los Angeles when Juve was on tour again. And now they're coming back this year. I'm going to be seeing you fellas in Santa Clara, I hope, as well.
Well, we'll be there. And you're gonna be there.
Beautiful. So I
think
look
we're
forward
gonna
to seeing you
sit,
guys there as well. And we've got it popping up already. How are we feeling about the renewal? We'll talk about the renewal. We're going to talk about all the moves kind of in sequence. And everybody knows what I think. This show, I want to hear about Matteo and Giulio and how you guys feel and everything about Juve and the Mercato and stuff. But we have tradition here. Matteo took part in it the first time he was here. Now it's Giulio's turn. We always like finding out how our guests became Juventini. So if you can share your story of how Juventus became your club, I would love to hear it.
It's as simple as I was born in the right side of the world. That's all. I
There
was
you
born
go.
in Italy, in Sicily. In Sicily, people root mainly for three big teams and then a local team. It's either Inter, Milan,
excuse me, south of
Juventus.
Sicily. South of Sicily.
Yeah,
There you
it's
go.
just
There you go.
like-
We got
my dad.
we got Gian Gro here. Everybody knows Gianpero there. File bravo, Matteo.
John. Ciao, John.
There you go. Now, we got to start talking about this. Dan, I'm going to get into this on the Friday show, whatnot, but it's a lot of the same of what we're hearing. There's nothing really new coming out, to be honest. I'm talking to Mirko, I'm talking to Romeo all the time. And you know what's funny about this Mercato, you guys, is even those guys are all mixed up. And yet, honestly, right now, nothing surprises me with the Mercato. Anything can happen, I feel like. There's mixed signals going out there from everyone and whatnot, but we're going to start off with the Milik renewal. How do you guys feel about the Milik renewal? That was the first piece of business that kind of was confirmed and everything. What are you guys' thoughts about Milik coming back?
I think it makes sense for that kind of price. You're gonna have a starting caliber Serie A striker for I think we put a 6 point something plus there is a million bonus in case I don't know what the bonuses are related to. Okay, so I think for that kind of money, I think you get a more than decent striker. Talking about for Serie A, and we need to remember that next year, almost for sure, we're gonna focus on one competition, actually two, because it's Coppa Italia, and so I think it was a good deal. And eventually, Milik, it could even be used a moving piece to get someone else. But who knows? It's still early in the market, and I actually talked with Mirko too a couple of days ago, and so yes, we still haven't started yet. I think it's still scraping the surface and everything.
There you go.
I second what Matteo said. It made sense. He did well in our first year. I mean, unfortunately, he got injured, so the good momentum was stopped. But every time he played, he played decently, and he scored some heavy goals when it was needed. So he's a reliable player at the price makes total sense.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing is as a support piece, that's a great piece of business as a support piece up front in attack. Now, Timothy Weah. Timothy Weah. Now we're going to start with Julio on this one. What are your thoughts about picking up Timothy Weah? Because I feel like slightly more fans aren't happy about it than the ones that are and seeing it for what it is. Obviously, you're wearing the kit. Banita goes away, and they're kind
Right.
of saying Weah's supposed to be, and he has. He's played right wing, left back, right back. He could play
Played it
up and
all.
down both sides. That's a utility guy, right?
Right. And
So,
that's why I think it's a good deal for us, considering that we're going to keep Allegri, the like versatile players. I think is a good investment, considering the age, considering the price, considering that we needed to, to a change, on those areas. I think it's a good investment. I don't know if he's gonna be, a starter. I don't know if he's gonna be the man, but like it makes sense to have him
yeah,
on the roster.
yeah. And Matteo, anything to add on Weah?
Well, look, he's really versatile. He can play like I always see him playing like a right winger, especially with the U.S. national team. And but especially this year, he played a lot like a fullback position. So we still have no idea what we're gonna be our formation. And that's another thing that we should talk later about the confusion going around. And so it's a young player got for like a cheap price. I would like to say he looks like I think I don't remember someone tweeted out like a couple hours ago that he even have like a couple of like a better offer than what Juventus made, but he decided to join Juventus. And the applause in that is like his dad that we almost Julia, I'm sure that he remembers really well.
Yeah.
I lost you. Can't hear
Yeah, I
you.
lost you, Matteo. Lost your audio.
Oh,
Oh, now
can you
you're
hear
back.
me?
Now
Okay.
you're back. Yeah.
And the big plus is like even if he play for AC Milan, he's like a huge Juventus fan. So that was
Juventus
fun
man.
to hear
Yeah.
sometime. Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot to say to this. I think the fans that are getting fired up about this deal aren't taking it for what it is. I think they're looking for every signing to be a marquee signing, but that's not the intention here. I see this deal one way. That's low risk with the potential for high reward because you're paying 12 million, it's spread out over 5 years and 2 million a season in wages. That is low risk
No
for
brainer.
Juventus right now, and that could pay huge dividends. If we're
Yeah.
even talking about him running amidst in the starting 11 in a couple of years and trying to be a regular, that's a huge win for Juventus. And if it doesn't work out, he's not going to be hard to move at that price that we brought him
Nope.
in and whatnot. Like, we're talking about nothing after a couple of years amortization. It's nothing. It's nothing in the grand scheme. There's nothing to lose here with this move for Juventus. This
Nope.
one makes perfect sense for me. Now, I'm going to just stop for a second here. Our friend Basil here saying, where can I get this US t-shirt from? So cool. So that one that Matteo's wearing, obviously the Juventus official fan club of Hollywood. I'm sure they're members. Get one. So everyone, if you're not a member of an official fan club, I can't stress to you enough how great it is to become a member. And my goal after meeting up with all of you and seeing what you guys do, the tailgate before the game at the Rose Bowl there, it's incredible. And I made it a goal of mine when I got back to start pushing the fan clubs more, because it really is special how much time and effort you guys take to bring everybody closer to the club. It was fantastic stuff. Ron Rusitano from Pittsburgh was also there and took in the festivities with all you guys.
Start a club. Start a club.
There you go. So you guys just also had a fantastic, it was a picnic, right? For all the members and everything?
It was a potluck. Yeah, it was the end of
Potluck.
the year, beginning of the new season potluck in the park. So new members could meet old ones, so we could celebrate the end of the last year and get together at some fun music, games, food, a moment just to get together, because that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Abroad, it's about community. We
Yeah.
cannot go to the stadium every weekend, so we gotta make up in other ways.
Yeah. And I've heard amazing stories about people that have met through the fan clubs and becoming great, great friends, taking part in each other's weddings and whatnot. Like, just the camaraderie is amazing that's built, the relationships. It's really all about the relationships of everybody. But for a guy like me that does, I'm surrounded by prem heads here, okay? So for me, when I see this, it's beautiful to me because I would love nothing more than to watch a game surrounded by Juventini. So what you guys do is incredible. The shirt, I'm sure that's available to official fan club members, correct, Matteo?
Yeah, that's correct. Actually, we need to. I need to go tomorrow to
Nice.
place an order for more. Yeah, so we need to get more of that. And yeah, it was a good like. I actually I love it. Okay, we have in black as well. So yeah, yeah, Reno. Yes, I can't wait to see you to meet you too. You know, Reno. Yes, for Vancouver. So
Yeah, Reno will be there in
yeah,
LA.
yeah,
He's obviously a
with
member
his wife.
of Pietro Nardone's group out of Vancouver. And there's going to be close to 30 of us from that group. That is the group I'm a part of that are going to be in Santa Clara. Reno's the only one that went to LA only. Reno. But that's good. You're going to have a great time with all of them. And I'm sure they're
Yes,
going to
sir.
tell you a bit about what's to come. All right?
Oh yeah.
So stay tuned,
In a
everybody.
little
You're going to
bit.
get some
In a little
details from
bit.
these guys
In a
on
little
the
bit.
tour. And then this one, that's ours, combination with the partnership between the AJC and the official fan clubs North America.
Love
That
it.
one is, of course, available on the merch store if you guys choose to support the channel in that way. Now, this is the good stuff. Now we get to the good stuff, guys. Rabio Renewal and everybody and all the huff and everything and the videos today. The one video, I don't even know what the heck was going on. What was
I
it?
saw that one.
A chicken, an egg, a camel. I don't even know what the heck I was
I
watching
saw
there.
that one.
But Rabio
I'm go-
Renewal, how do you guys feel about the 1 year Rabio Renewal
oh.
with the potential for the second year there? Who wants to start on this one?
I'm
Matteo,
gonna
Julio?
mute my. I'm gonna mute myself. I'm gonna listen to Julia on this one. So
Okay,
I
there
know
we go. We're
that
going to
I
start
know
with
that
Julio on
Billo.
this one.
I know that Billo is gonna love it.
No, 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 no. Like I've always said that Rabiot is what it is, all right. But it's not a player that I think deserves a top player salary, which is what he's getting. All right. So I do believe that Rabiot, with great players next to him, could do a lot better than what he's done. So I would love to see Rabiot with a healthy Pogba, a healthy Fagioli. You know, it could be an explosive midfielder. All right, but when I see Rabiot with Locatelli, I just want to open the window and throw myself out of the window. That's how I feel about all of this. So Rabiot another year, okay, it could make sense. I mean, if we are betting on a lot of young players, we need people with experience. And Rabiot overall, like, has been consistent at least the last year ish. So it makes sense. I see why they want to do it. If he left, I would have not pulled my hair. So
Yeah,
it's all right.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that I don't have an issue with Rabiot. Obviously, he had a great year, a good year. Let me say that. And yes, he scored a lot of goals. I think 10 or 12. I think and like all combined. Okay, I agree with Julia. Actually, every day Rabiot is part of our daily routine with Julia. Okay, so I agree with him. That I don't have the issue with Rabiot. The issue that I have is that if it's the couple Rabiot and Locatelli. Okay, with having Rabiot and Locatelli playing together, I don't think your midfield can be that good. Okay, and you will see that even this year we start playing better when Allegri decide to put like Fagioli instead of Mechanic close to them. Okay, even say that at that price we are paying Rabiot for another year. I take it because at the end of the day, I think yeah, like I tweet something out today, and it's gonna cost on the on our books. I think it's gonna be 9 point something million euro for like 1 year, and I don't think you're gonna get like another player of that caliber for that kind of money. Okay, all things considered, okay? Because even like everybody's talking about Milinkovic Savic, because let's talk about the elephant in the room, and. I was excited about Milinkovic Savic like 5 years ago. Not anymore, honestly. I don't think. are we gonna get him? Okay, we're gonna get him. I think we're gonna get like a Serie A player, or maybe one of the top Serie A player, but he hasn't proven what he can do like with a team like Juventus, because something is playing with Juventus, something else is playing with a team like Lazio. He hasn't done anything like international, but not even with Lazio in the in any European Cup, or even with the Serbian national team. So, and honestly, what Lotito is asking for Savic right now, about 35 million euro, okay, I think it's way too much for what you're going to get. You're going to get a 28, 29 years old player that is going to be like a free agent next year, okay? So if Savic is going to happen, I think it's going to happen like a last minute of this transfer market season. So I think it's like end of August, okay? Right now with Rabiot, actually, we can say that our midfield is complete, because right now in the roster we have like Rabiot, Locatelli, Fagioli, Rovella, that is by far my favorite player, Miretti, and I forget someone else. I forgot.
You forgot the best, Arthur, Matteo. What?
No, there's another one. And so I think
Okay.
fabulous player, and you can focus on something else. For the money that we are spending on I guess it's fine. But
For me, it's like this. People
and Pogba,
misinterpret
sorry.
people
Okay, sorry.
misinterpret what I said in the terms of straight up Rabiot and me having an issue with him resigning. It's not an issue with him resigning. Like, I have no problem with Rabiot renewing, and I understand why Juventus would renew. The issue I had with the whole thing is that if they lose the tax benefit, the growth decree, it was a difference of 4 million euros. But for me, if I look at our midfield, I'm highly, highly nervous about Paul Pogba's body and if he can actually maintain. So when I think about that, and I think about us jumping at Rabiot, because I don't believe when I hear things like he had Bayern Munich offer and all these offers and he chose to come back to. No, I think he tested the waters. It wasn't better the way he was thinking, and he come back. I think Juventus should have waited and just seen what was out there. Not Sergej Milinkovic-Savic or Fratesi, although I believe those types of profiles would help, because I think the coverage we're going to need is more the profile of a Paul Pogba that can link up play, that can like contribute in goals, in assists and whatnot. And Rabiot is a workhorse. That's what he is. He's a workhorse. He got 10 goals in all competitions last year. His fitness is top drawer. I'll give him that. But for me, I'm like, maybe just wait a little bit, because even if you go beyond the point you lose that growth decree, it's 4 million, which is still going to be okay if you end up having to sign him last resort. But I think maybe we should have looked more for that profile, because if I look at the other guys, Miretti for me, I still think needs a loan. That's me. I just think he really needs a loan to take that next step. That's just me. The other guys, I love Rovella. Rovella coming in, I love it.
Don't
Fagioli, no problems. Locatelli, I love it. But again, when you look at all these
What do you think,
midfielders,
Locatelli?
I like Locatelli. I like Locatelli. I
Oh
have
my
no problems with
you,
Locatelli. And I think
you
last
lost us
year,
there.
oh no, man, I think he was the glue that held it. But I'll tell you this, Locatelli is a two-man pivot midfielder. Okay, that's what he is. He's not this regista, and he's not a Mezzala. Like, people want to play him Mezzala. He's not a Mezzala. He's not a regista. He's a two-man pivot midfielder. He played his best period two-man pivot. I think you can actually achieve that with Rovella coming, and even with a guy like Fagioli. And even if you had to cover for a guy we paid 10 million for a few years ago, okay, a guy you paid 10 million for a few years ago, Zakaria, to come in and cover, worst case scenario, Rabiot walked away. I'm not thinking it's the end of the world. I think where we're gonna lack is that link up and that attacking midfielder, because we spent last year, the entire year, trying to get Di Maria to be a trequartista, which he is not. And it keeps coming back to this creative force in the midfield. It doesn't have to be Sergej Milinkovic-Savic. It doesn't have to be Fratesi. But for me, that's the piece that I think we will still miss, unless Pogba can stay fit for a long time. But that's a risk.
Look,
That's a risk you take.
I think I'm the only one of the few are still on the Pogba bandwagon, and I think he's gonna. And you're not gonna see my hands. He's gonna see. You're gonna prove a lot of people wrong this year. Okay, so
Pogba doesn't have to prove anything wrong. Like the quality of the player, it's not in discussion. It's
Yeah.
the fitness.
Yeah.
There's nothing to prove. If he's fit, he's amazing. There's nothing to prove. It's not that people are saying, "Oh, what a bad player." It just can't like play 3 games in a row, and we need reliable people. Everybody
he was coming for an injury and he suffered another injury and he had some bad choice, okay, and the injury that he had with the body that he had made it worse than it actually the injury is, and but we have seen that even Pogba, 30% of his potential is way better than any other player in Serie A. You know, we this, we see yeah, of course, okay. And so I hope I don't know, because honestly that's going back to what you were saying in the beginning about the confusion, and honestly I have this feeling, okay, especially until Giuntoli actually it looks like tomorrow Thursday, okay, it's gonna be like the day for Giuntoli to come to Juventus. That's what it looks like right now, but yeah, exactly, finger crossed, because a man like Giuntoli is missed from Juventus since 2018, okay, since Marotta left and so Paratici had to adapt his role to something else, so we're missing the kind of like to that role for too long, okay, and so the what we are hearing about Juventus, it looks like on the from the external side, because of course we the work for Juventus, okay, it looks like there is a lot of confusion over there, okay, every time you wake up to a different kind of news, and then throughout the day you can read it from A to Z, right, and the day after it's going to be from Z to A, okay. I think a lot is created by the journalists, okay, because the journalists, even like a friend of the show, that because they're making a living out of this, so they try to spread rumor around, even they're not completely true, okay, just to keep like the interest alive around Juventus. So I think that the journalists actually they had a part on the feeling that you having about Juventus right now. So, for example, one day you read that Allegri want to start at 3-5-2. And then the day after, no, it's going to be 5-3, 4-3-3, and then 4-3-1-2. And then
when did he tell them that? When he was having a nap on the beach there? No, what do you mean? How do they know he's going to go 3-5-2?
But you know the funny thing about that? You know, Allegri never had like a specific setup. And if you think about Allegri, even when he was, and now we can speak on Allegri later, okay, if you have time, okay, because I have like a strong opinion about that. If you think about every year that you have with Juventus, you start with a setup, you finish with another one, okay. Even if you look like at the last game of the season, you talk about Di Maria, okay. We were almost always defending by 4 and attacking with a line of 3 on the defense. So when we're attacking, we're becoming like more like a 3-2-5, okay? And we're defending with a 4-4-2. And what he did with Di Maria, I agree with you, is not one to play like behind the only striker, but that setup that he found out with Di Maria over there is like to give like our defense some kind of solidity that we didn't have throughout all last year. And with that formation over there, actually sacrificing basically a striker, a forward, or like an offensive winger, okay, give like some solidity in the back. So that's why I think he did what he did.
Yeah. That's actually tying into my main expectation of the Mercato, because even if I think a little bit different about one move or 2 moves, whatever, I still say my expectations come the end of the Mercato is just to see a lineup, a roster that's balanced. That's all I want. I just want him to have solutions without, these fallback excuses, whatnot. Because if somebody said he had nobody to play on the right, he was right. Because if Quadrado went out, he had nobody on the right. DeScilio was hurt. He was out. He had nobody to put in that spot there, right? He had some parts there that he had to do whatever he could to get by. There's no question there, okay? Going to the 3-5-2, the 3-5-1-1, whatever people want to call it, I agreed with it. I agreed with it too, just to get some type of solidity and whatnot. But he needed to still find a way to find balance amongst that. And we got too heavy to the defensive side. But regardless, I want to tell everybody in the chat. I saw somebody earlier in the chat say, "What about Allegri?" You guys, Allegri is staying. Okay, so it would have happened by now if it was gonna happen. Get ready. All these Mercato moves now, it's all Max Allegri. Okay,
Right.
Rabiot, Milik, whatever.
All over.
Yeah, get ready. Get ready, okay? So anybody that's still expecting someone, hey, I'd be I tell you what, if it happened, I'll give something away. You give a bunch of striped heart shirts away or whatever, something happen. He's staying, okay? Now, so we talked about Rabiot, and ultimately the deal is fine. That's not make or break for Juventus. I think it's more that feeling of settling sometimes and maybe not going too hard, but they have a lot of work to do. If Rabiot stays and we get some fullback help, which we need desperately, and we don't end up being super light on top, then hey, like I said, balanced, no problem. Do you guys expect to see another midfielder even with this Rabiot renewal? I don't. And a lot of fans are still expecting a midfielder coming in. I'm not.
If they for real have Rovella come back, Iling Jr. play, Miretti, Fagioli, all in full force, then we really don't need anyone. The middle is full. I want to say, though, on the opposite of what Matteo said, that I love Milinkovic-Savic. So I think he's a great player. I think he hasn't been able to, explore his full potential because he's played in a mediocre team for the past 10 years. And Lotito has held him hostage with these high requests. So it's not fair to say 100 million. He's been asking 100 million for Milinkovic-Savic. Last year was asking 60 million. So nobody will spend that much money. So is it worth the 35 million now? I don't know, but I think he's an extraordinary player, actually. And I wouldn't mind having it. Then how would he play with Allegri? That's another question, but
yeah,
I wouldn't rule it completely out. But I agree with you. We might be set in the midfield.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Matteo. I don't really think there's going to be another midfielder coming in.
I want Rovella to be our starter. I just give me Rovella, Fagioli, someone else. Okay, in this case, it's gonna be Rabiot or Rovella, Rabiot, and Pogba if he can, and I think we're set. Rovella is amazing. Rovella, you need to say, is an amazing player. He's a 2001 with already more than 70 cap in Serie A. Okay, he showed that he can play at Serie A level. Okay, he's leading the under 21 team. Okay, and he's an amazing player. He can do everything. And actually, if you think about last year, he had a really good preseason with us because he had a really good game against Barcelona. And then the 3 games or 3 or 4 games that he was with the Juventus, he always came in the pitch. Okay, so he was already considered by Allegri, and then they decided to loan him because we got Paredes. Okay, and at that time it looked like a good move. Maybe it wasn't good. Okay, but with thinking about what right now on the past is too easy. So
Lorenzo's asking you directly a question, Matteo. Would you sell Locatelli?
If someone is willing to buy him, yeah, why not?
I will carry him on my shoulder too, not only sell it.
Honestly, he hasn't shown me. And look, I know, great guy, great Juventino, great couple. I have nothing to say about the person, about how he. But guys, honestly, it didn't show on the pitch what we were expecting. We need to be clear. Look, people tend to give like a Miretti a lot of shit. A lot of shit, forgetting that Miretti is a 2003, forgetting that last year Miretti didn't even have the preseason because he was playing against, I think, the under 19 World Cup or Euro Cup. I don't know. He didn't have the preseason, so he didn't even have a vacation time. So I guess when by February he was basically done. Okay, and he was playing out of position. That's what that's the issue I had with Allegri, because he was playing where he was not supposed to be playing. Okay, and but going back to Lorenzo's question, give me a decent offer. I'm speaking like, well, they sell Tonali for 80. They give me 40 for Locatelli. I'm gonna take a day off. I'm gonna bring him.
He made look Rabiot good. I mean, that says it all.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm not there. I think he was the actual glue for that midfield last year.
Oh,
I
man.
don't know,
Like,
man. I
they're
just I
against
have
the
more leeway to
all in
guys
Spain.
that I
Well, the
see.
glue, Alberto, our issue last year was on the midfield. Unless when Fagioli was on the pitch. The issue was on the midfield.
I don't know, man. I think the biggest
the
issue
scene with
was
Sevilla when Fagioli went out.
the biggest issue was we left our strikers on a friggin' island by themselves
But
over and over and over.
And I disagree with that.
But that's
And
the
I disagree with
midfield.
that.
That's always the midfield. The midfield. So the defender play well if the midfield covers well. The strikers score if the midfield like build.
But
You
that's
know,
not on a regista though.
it doesn't.
Locatelli's playing a regista
what
role.
Locatelli is doing, because he's not scoring, he's not providing an assist, he's basically playing like the fifth or sixth defender, okay, in front of he's going in front of everybody when they're shooting, unless when
Yeah, but guys,
was
if
scoring.
he's in a if you're asking him to do that from a regista role when he's never done that before he came to us, it's not the same. But if you put him in a two-man pivot, that's when you start to get a little bit more of what he can. He started to do it late. I don't know if you guys remember. At the end of the year, he started to go rogue and he started abandoning, and he was up in the area out of nowhere, and he started doing something. He started making it happen. I don't know what's directed from coach, and I don't know what's up to the players or whatnot, because we're not behind the scenes. But I'm telling you, I'm not seeing this all the hate or negativity around Locatelli. And to be honest, a guy like Gatti too. Guys like Gatti and Locatelli, I'm comfortable to build with and move forward with, because at bare minimum, the bare minimum I need is to see the fight and the fact that you guys actually care. Because when I watch a guy like, Paredes come in here and not give a shit, all these guys that come in and they have nothing. At least give me that grinta. At least give me some of that fight and that heart. At least I can give Locatelli that. And that I will always stand behind, right? If we find somebody that's better that
Alberto,
takes Locatelli out of the midfield, that's okay. I'm okay with that too.
Can we say,
but right now, I think he starts, man. I think he starts for sure.
That's the issue. That's the issue.
The thing is,
Is Locatelli gonna be like a bench player for us? I take it all day on.
Listen, if you ask me,
are we gonna build a team around Locatelli?
guys, the problem is this: like in the past few years, we have lowered the expectations of what Juventus player should do. Locatelli would have never been a Juventus player if we would have not been in this situation, this transition of coach to coach to coach, losing, winning. They started to rebuild again. The expectations should be here. Right now, the expectations are here. If we start naming players that deserve to be in the midfield of the Juventus right now, I think we can name just 2 or 3.
But this can go back even to Rabiot for me.
A bench player that would grow into it can't be a starter.
Rabiot is a starter.
I can even put this back to Rabiot because
he had an exceptional World Cup. Even he's not my favorite player.
Listen. If you want to talk about expectations, okay, Julia wants to talk about expectations, lowering expectations, standards, and all this. I can see it from their point too, because if all of a sudden Rabiot plays one good season in our worst season out of the 4 he's been with us, but he plays finally a good season.
I agree with you.
He makes us, our club, a fallback option because he had nothing better there, okay? That standard and those expectations are left to be skid. Like for me as a fan, I almost feel like we're settling. You don't want to be anybody's fallback option.
There is a difference. We're talking about an international player with international experience that is already 28, that is never injured, and that is strong, and that is shown personality. Again, you ask me, I would have sold Rabiot to both Rabiot and Locatelli out in somebody else. But, Rabiot has the potential to be great with great players. I don't know about Locatelli. That's my
Yeah,
opinion.
and I don't
Alberto,
know still, because I'm still going back to the point I was trying to make about the guys that give a shit, that want to
no, no,
be there
no,
and
no, no.
whatnot. And
I
I
agree.
can't help but feel that Rabiot, we were his fallback option, man.
I think we
So,
were.
so that's the part that I'm kind of like, I'd rather
I
build, test the
can
market, and see
look.
who wants to come, who wants to truly, truly be there, not because you didn't get your 10 million when you could have renewed
Well,
all year if you
I need
wanted to.
also to say though, but who really wants to be right now at Juventus for the love of it? Vlahovic, who is Chiesa, who is that wants to be there for the love of it? So if we start going into that field, it's a very delicate field because I can name Gatti wants to be there, Danilo wants to be there, De Sciglio wants to be there, Chesney I think wants to be there. The youngsters, but then there are 3 or 4 or 5 big players that I don't know if they want to be there. So it's a tricky
And I think we're talking about a build. Because if we're talking about a build, that's kind of the issue that some have brought up about the Rabiot thing, is like, if you're truly going to say you want to build, and if we're staring down the barrel of a season where we're only going to play in Serie A, maybe now's the time, like Matteo says, I want to see Rovella in here with Fagioli and these guys and build up, because they want to be there. Why? Because they're going to have the drive and the hunger to get in there, get in that lineup and prove themselves day in, day out. But if you start rewarding stuff like that with bloated salaries and stuff like that, you're also counteracting getting those guys in that want to kind of drive. But I agree with you, Giulio, because at the end of the day, you're still talking about a guy with international experience that has a level last year that was pretty much the tops in the midfield. It pretty much was. He was our best midfielder, I think, Rabiot.
Fagioli was one of the best, and then him. But if you look at the goals, yes, he was the best. If you look at just,
But the
I
thing
think
is that, yeah, there's that discussion there where I think it's fair to be had about getting this build actually going and stop trying to patchwork and actually maybe have to suffer for a year to actually move forward with a strong core for the future. But
yeah, but Alberto,
well,
look,
there
if
is
you
to
talk
say that.
about Locatelli, I think it's gonna be endless. But if I can say something funny, maybe we wanna keep talking. We can talk you for about 2 hours about Locatelli. I have this feeling, okay, and I listen a lot of show. Okay, I try to be on Twitter, reading left and right. Okay, and living in the United States, I have the privilege of knowing how people from this side of the pond are looking at the soccer thing instead of different from Italy. And the funny thing is, a lot of people for Italy is blaming Locatelli, or at least it's like a 50-50, there is a 50-50 position about Locatelli, when people the Juventini, in North America, because my experience with people, right, they're totally on Locatelli bandwagon. I don't know for whatever reason, and it was the same thing I was experiencing with Marchisio, which I loved. Okay, I loved Marchisio, but you need to be fair. When the year we went to Cardiff, okay, Marchisio was a bench player for us. Khedira was a much better player than Marchisio. There wasn't even close between the level of the two players. Okay, as an Italian, as a Juventino, I loved Marchisio, but guy, Khedira was something else. And the same thing is happening about Locatelli. Look like the Juventini for North America, for whatever reason, like Locatelli, because they see this Italian player with that love Juventus, because obviously he loves Juventus. Okay, he's a Juventus fan since he was a kid. Okay, and they see something that I'm not seeing on him. Okay, and a lot of Italian I'm not saying that he's a bad player. I'm saying that he's gonna be like a rotational player for us and a starting for Fiorentina. For what I seen right now,
yeah,
I
I gotta say, for having supporters in Italy and even all the North Americans or whatever that watch and stuff, I don't think it has anything to do with that. Like, I see a split for Locatelli. I see a split for Locatelli amongst the fan base in general, and this is everywhere. So if I'm looking at big Twitter accounts that put out posts that hit Jesus worldwide because they have who knows how many 100,000 followers. I look down that list. If I look at a comment section from a post from Locatelli himself, if I look at a Juventus admin post, It's like right down the middle. There's no in between. It seems like Locatelli. People either
Your
love him or
chat
hate
is
him.
only is
Yeah, and I don't
totally
think it has
on
anything to
Locatelli
do with North
bandwagon,
America,
man.
Italy. Like everything I see on Locatelli, he is split, and that's
I
fine.
agree.
That's okay. That's
Right?
everybody's opinion.
It goes back to what we said before. He's Juventino. He gives it all. I never see him not
Yeah.
trying to give it all. But that's my problem. He gives it all. It still sucks. Like, so how, it's gonna get better, So that's the thing. Like, literally, I don't think he's a Juventus player for what Juventus is trying to do. Now, next year we're not gonna play Champions League. Okay, so it's fine. Whoever we're getting, even going back to the Rabiot situation, it's not easy to sign high-profile players when you are not going to be in Europe playing. So there is that goes into maybe signing again Rabiot.
Yeah.
It still gives you that international profile, and he was okay with doing it for whatever reason. But someone like Locatelli, I don't know what it's going to give us.
Here's the thing: is like this comment comes in from Vincenzo here, and he says in a lot of ugly, scrappy matches, Locatelli was actually the one that he feels was man of the match. And to be honest, his name came up a lot, and it's just that grunt work, it's that dirty work and whatnot. Is it pretty? Is it long balls
I'm
like
not denying
Pirlo,
that.
whatever? No, but he does a job, and it's when
I'm not denying
when you
that,
say
but
he
he's a
sucks,
starting
there's a
player
lot of
for
Juventini
Juventus,
that
and
don't
expecting
think he
more.
sucks. But that's opinion. Now we got to
No,
get
no,
off Locatelli, or we're gonna be here forever.
I
We got to
agree
get
with
off
you.
Locatelli.
I agree with you what you said. I agree with you. Totally
Yeah.
100% what you said. But for a starting player on Juventus, for someone that starts 50 games out of 60, okay, I'm expecting more. That's
Okay, and you know what? This is good because Danilo is another name that comes into play for that exact reason. So a lot of the fans, he's split. He is split right across the board because there's Juventini
Really?
that say,
That
yes,
blows my mind.
big time, big time. Danilo gets a split all the time because people say
Wow.
he is not Juve caliber. He should not be on Juventus team period ever. And this is what I say, and this might be right for everybody, okay? Locatelli, Danilo, maybe we're holding on to the caliber and level of players, keeping in mind the standards that we came from, and we're realizing where we are at right now. And that touches on what Giulio was saying before, that everything changes year after year after year. We made some moves. We know the roster needs to be cleaned up. We know where the finances sit with the club. And our roster took a bit of a hit. And right now, like Danilo, I have no problems with Danilo. No problems with Danilo whatsoever. But there's a lot of fans, the way you feel about Locatelli, feel that way about Danilo. Just so you know, like,
The thing is, the difference is this: Danilo, like, let's say 7 games out of 10, he's great, he's solid, he's reliable. Locatelli is not. Out of 10 games, he's maybe like doing 5 where he's okay, another 5 where he's below okay. He's never, what a great game by Locatelli, like an 8+ game and 9. Danilo does those games as a center back, as a right back, as a left back. I find it just completely like mind blowing that we're even talking about this right now and Danilo. But I respect, different opinions.
oh
but
yeah, there's a lot of people that do not.
Wow.
I take heat for it all the time. I spent the entire last season defending Danilo. Okay,
Wow,
I
really?
spent the entire last season defending Danilo because I see no problem with him. I have no problem with him being the captain. I think he led by example. And to be honest, I'm kind of there with Locatelli too. Did he have off games? Absolutely. The way he started the year was terrible. He had personal things going on. I don't know. He left. And then when he came back, though, he was a different guy for me. And I noticed it differently. But
You know why?
Danilo,
You know why?
Danilo takes his heat. I defend
You know-
Danilo and Locatelli. Everybody knows that I watch the show.
No,
I
no.
defend them both.
Oh, you know why he was better? Because Fagioli was playing.
just
And I wasn't a Fagioli fan. Giulio
Yeah.
knows that. But
Huh.
since the moment he start being like a consistent starting player on the team, we play better. Just Easy example. Second leg against Sevilla. Fagioli went out, go down.
We're
We are
done.
not. We are down.
Yeah. See, and when I look at it though, Fagioli in his movements and his freedoms when he goes out there and the one touches and stuff, I still see Locatelli cleaning up anytime something goes sideways though. Like
No.
he's gotta be allowed to do some stuff too. Like I think the role people expect out of that regista doesn't quite line up, to be honest, because maybe we're stuck with the Pirlo
Look,
in the
I
brain,
agree.
and that's
No, no,
not
no.
right.
I agree. And one of the issue I had with Allegri, okay, is keep starting Locatelli in that position.
Yeah.
But even with Sevilla, that Fagioli went out, Paredes went in, Paredes well played like a regista, Locatelli played like a mezzala. Locatelli was basically non-existent during the game.
Yeah.
So, but okay, it's a game,
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Now, we got the players out of the way. That went probably way too overboard, but the live chat loved it, so that's all that matters is you guys. Okay, like the video too. Take a second to like the video. We got to talk about the club, okay? The official fan club. You guys are amazing, putting in a ton of work. We're getting ready for the U.S. tour, so I want you guys to take this opportunity, talk about what you going on, and what we can expect out of the U.S. tour coming up, you guys.
Giulio?
All right. Do I go? All right. So there is going to be a lot happening in Los Angeles. I think we can safely share that they're gonna stay in LA most of the time. They're going to fly to San Francisco the day before the game in San Francisco, and they're gonna fly to LA. I don't know if it's the evening of or the day after, and they're gonna stay here till the end of the month, the end of July. So they're gonna spend a week here. So there's gonna be definitely one or two members only events, like it was last year. Alberto, you were there, so you have an idea of what we're talking about. And,
You see Giulio being an official translator? You see
there's gonna be like again a big tailgate, like in the parking lot. So expect that with all the fan members coming, and there might be a fourth event. That we don't know yet. We're working on it, but they could involve again all fan clubs and let's say a fun day.
Yeah.
So there is a lot happening in LA.
Yeah, so LA is gonna be home base like it was last year, and we gotta let you guys all know about the inside joke about the translator thing, because the special event last year was Zambruno there interviewing Chiellini and Del Piero, and Giulio was up on stage as well to be the translator. But I think they let you translate like two things, and then they just went off in Italian.
No, but the thing is this, like I told Gabriele, who is like the national coordinator for the fan club, actually the worldwide coordinator for the fan club, Gabriele, they both speak English. They don't need nobody. No, just be safe. I was like, what am I gonna do? So I met him in April now at the stadium. I was like, Gabriele, they're still making fun of me a year later.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was fun. Hey, but at least I sat next to the man.
There you go. There you go. And that was incredible. When I found out that was happening on the drive down, I was driving down to Vancouver. I got a 3-hour drive just to hit the airport to fly into LA, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, Chiellini and Del Piero just in an interview there, like.
We are
We had an
spoiled.
amazing night with Chiellini.
We were expecting different play, because honestly we are spoiled, because Del Piero was living here till like last year, and Chiellini is living here right now. So we already had the chance to meet like several times, So we are spoiled with that. So we were hoping to get like a different guest, honestly, but it was a great turnaround. It was a great night, and especially because it was special because Del Piero and Chiellini were there, okay, but it was special because they were fans for all United States, okay, for United States or for all North America. I had a chance to meet you, for example. I had a chance to meet John, that's here in the chat, Pietro from Vancouver. There is a lot of people. That was like
We're the guys from Colombia,
family.
Bianconera.
We met the guy from Colombia, Mercato, the tailgate before the Real Madrid game. It was a spectacular experience, guys, and so I'm so bummed that this year John cannot be there and Pietro cannot be there, at least in LA. Okay, so but yeah, if you have the chance, guys, join an official fan club, okay, whatever you are, okay, and the local official fan club, because hopefully the local official fan club is doing a good job, okay, and promoting Juventus and the spirit and the culture on Juventus, and because it's really making is a life-changing event, and if there is not an official fan club over there, and you live like in the big city, okay, start an official fan club. It's not that
Yes.
difficult. You
Reach out to us. We'll
reach
help
out
you.
to us, reach out to Alberto. They can exactly, like Johnson say, John and I, we were able to get 2 new clubs starting. One is Juventus Central Florida, another one is Juventus South Florida. So they're gonna be officials. I think they're already official actually. So and so Ron, start one in Pittsburgh. Okay,
Pittsburgh.
even
And
if
let's say,
it's not
John,
like it still is not a great team, packages are better. Okay, start one in Pittsburgh.
so let's also say that John Grow, who is watching, is typing. He's like the North America coordinator for all the fan clubs. So I'm sure he'll be more than happy to assist anyone that needs information how to start a fan club and what to do, what not to do, and everybody's happy to help.
Yeah, and that is just like I said. There's so many perks to joining that it's really a no-brainer. Half of us spend a bunch of money on merchandise every year, whatnot. You get some kickbacks, tickets. You guys can help with tickets to games, and then of course my favorite part is watching you guys in the watch parties when you guys all get together. I see the goal celebrations. I see Giulio hitting you, and I love it. I love it. So there's lots of benefits to going.
You should listen to what Julie is saying to me. About. That's like a PG 25. I think,
there you go.
Now it's fun, guys. Join a fan club. If you cannot join because you're start a new fan club. It's fun. It's totally worth it.
And I can't wait to meet up with you, gentlemen, in Santa Clara and take in that tailgate party. It's going to be great times. One question coming in from Dino. Conference League.
I'm totally to play the Conference League. I'm totally to play it, and it's not gonna happen. Most for sure, it's not gonna happen. But I'm totally for play the Conference League.
I agree with Matteo, and I'll tell you why. Because we have a lot of young players. It would be a great year to have these kids, to do some international experience. If you lose, you're not gonna lose anything, But if you move on, these kids could gain experience, sure, at the expense maybe of Serie A, maybe, or maybe not, I don't know, but it could be a good learning moment at a very low cost,
And
low risk.
Last time we won something in Europe, it was 97. Okay, so it's about. I don't think even if we're gonna qualify for the Champions League, I don't think in 2 years we're gonna win the Champions League. But everything is possible. Okay, so that's why I was so pissed for this year losing the semi-final against Sevilla. Okay, because I really wanted to win an European trophy. So if they let them play, I would love for them to play.
If we don't, nobody's gonna cry. But it wouldn't be that bad thing if we played.
Yeah, I'm with you guys on the terms of the youngsters. Great experience.
And look, yes. If you play the Conference League, okay, if you group stage, probably you're gonna play in some weird stadium, weird places, okay. But look, let me clear. Is 6 game, you win 3 game, you're up, okay. So win the first 3 games, the last 3 games, you can play with people for like the next generation team, okay, right? So why not? Yeah. Why not? And then if you start in February, you never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm with you guys 100%. If we're out, if they mix out with her, it's fine. It is what it is. But if we play in it, let's go. Get the young guys built up, get them their experience, and go through it. So absolutely agree. Is Chiesa staying or what? Who knows? Who knows what's going on anymore? I think, to be honest, at the end of the day, I think he's staying. I think we're here. How do you guys feel about Bremer? You know how many people have told me they would sell Bremer?
I'm one of them. If they can,
you would
give
sell
us
Bremer?
If they give us like 60 million, like.
So he asked me this question this morning. Yes, like
No, it was someone else, and you go in a circle because
I said,
you said something wrong. As always, you're
he,
trying to go back
he
in
doesn't have.
circling
Uh,
like with this.
Matteo is not able to read text messages, so interpret. Okay,
It's
so
because
this is the
Francesco
thing.
is
It was
attending
like
us too.
the question was like, would you, Matteo, turn off the mic. The question was like, who would you sell between Chiesa, Vlahovic, and Bremer? Like, and they both said Bremer. I was like, okay, if we talk about player, sure, obviously I would prefer selling player, but like a defender, you don't find a defender at that age that trustworthy. It's difficult to find a defender that is that age and it's trustworthy. A
Yeah,
young player in the defense can do a lot of damage more than an attacker younger. That's my point that Matteo still clearly doesn't understand, but
For me,
yeah, because the chat is in
I
Italian, so
wouldn't.
I don't understand the English or Italian anymore. So that's why.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to see Bremer be sold. No, no, not for me. If you had to
But
pick one, you got to move. Say we need the money. You have to sell one. Bremer, Chiesa, Vlahovic. Who do you sell and why?
Bremer, it's difficult finding people that can score. I don't think it. Yeah, Bremer is a good player. I'm not gonna deny.
Okay.
I think he was decent for us. It wasn't exceptional. Can I tell you something? Can you Bremer transition to a line of 4 defense?
I think so.
Hopefully, because he didn't show up the promises last year.
I think it depends on
And
who's. I think it depends on who's next to him.
exactly. It's not that simple. Like I can tell you, like if somebody comes with the 90 million and wants to take Vlahovic, I'll be like, okay, take it. So it's not that easy. It depends on
if they give you, like they say, you sell Bremer, you get Pau Torres. Yeah, Pau Torres, Gatti. Pau Torres can play
Pau
like
Torres,
the
50
left
million.
center back. Bremer
Yeah.
60, fine.
Right. So what's the
And
point?
Julio, who would you sell out of those 3 players?
It depends how much they're. I wouldn't sell Chiesa. One that I would never sell is Chiesa. So I would be okay with Vlahovic or Bremer if they're paying the right price.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, I
But,
think
but
it's.
look, the issue that I have with Chiesa, and not a lot of people is talking about that, is like I think his contract expires in 2025.
Yeah.
So next year it's gonna be like the last year of this contract, okay? And I think Chiesa in this moment, or you renew him, or you need to think about it.
I talked about this. That's so funny. I talked about this last podcast. I said, if Juve has any doubts in renewing him, this is the summer to move him because after he's in his last contract year.
It's the same issue. It's the same issue we have with Ealing Jr.
With who?
Yeah.
Ealing.
Oh yeah, I know. I don't think Juventus has doubts with Chiesa. I think it's Chiesa that has doubts. That's what is concerning me more. Why would Juventus have doubts?
It's hard for us to tell because of all the misinformation we're getting, and we're getting this big PR battle. One's like Chiesa's agent comes out and says, no, he didn't ask for $8 million, but that doesn't mean anything. He could have said, I want to renew at $8 million. You can't trust anything you're hearing right now because it's all up in the air.
The issue I have right now and about all this confusion, and I think it's starting with the journalists following Juve, especially starting. Look, last year I was able to get a picture with Fabiana Della Valle here in LA. Okay, I don't know if it's gonna be Fabiana Della Valle or Giovanni Albanese following the team this year, but like in a respectful way, if Fabiana is gonna be here, I'm gonna have like I'm gonna give a piece of my mind because I don't think she's gonna be so fair again with Juventus because we know Juventus.
She gave me her number last summer, so if you want, you can text her.
Okay, perfect. And look, because we know, and something we hadn't talked in this episode, maybe they're gonna be Juventus sell a lot of newspaper, okay? And what you Gazzetta dello Sport or Gazzetta dello Sport is doing about Juventus is really not fair, just to be polite, okay? Speaking about the issue I have is the J Twitter is the Juventus fan base that is becoming one of the worst fan base in the entire world of the sport. Okay, is talking about Chiesa wanted to leave because of Allegri. Is Veloci wanted to leave because of Allegri. Is Locatelli playing bad because of Allegri. Keane, Blin, I don't know, not scoring too many goals because of Allegri. Whether it's been June being too gloom because of Allegri, and gas prices going up because of Allegri. That's the feeling that I have. I'm not saying that Juventus should have making a decision, okay, and on changing coach, okay, because I think everybody was expecting that, okay. I think they would have changed it, okay, but they, for whatever reason it is, and I don't know it because we don't know it for sure, because and it's not a money decision because Juventus, if they want, they have a money, okay, and it's like a 10 million. Eventually, it's going to be a 10 million decision that 10 million Juventus has 10 million to spend around, okay, if they want. They decide to stick with Allegri. I'm going to stick with Allegri. I'm going to support Juventus. Period. Because as bad we have played this year, with all the things happen around Juventus, and we can write an encyclopedia about what happened at Juventus. Juventus finished second in Serie A. Juventus finished second in Serie A, and we got to the semi-final Europa League, and we got to the semi-final in Italy Cup, and the semi-final against Inter. There is something that you should be talking about, and I'm gonna stop over there.
Yeah, I have a different kind of perspective on. I get the frustrations in, what people are reading and what they're seeing and whatever. And every year I lay it out for people before we get into silly season, the Mercato. I said, hey, you're going to hear news one day. The next day you're going to hear the complete opposite. Take it all with a grain of salt. We move on. Wait for pen to hit paper and sign. And then you can discuss whatever and think. I don't think it's because the fan base is becoming the worst fan base, because honestly, like I said, I have Prem heads here. They're all the same reactionary stuff, but it's because of the passion. It's because every year people say the same thing. I'm not going to get sucked into this news. I'm not going to buy into but the second it happens, they're sucked in, because if it's a player they care about in Chiesa, whatever, and they start to believe it just because they get so just trapped in this emotional thing, and the media plays to it. They know what's going to get the reactions or whatever, and they play up to it. So when you're not getting anything, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, let's do Alberto, this with Allegri and whatnot, and he's the hot topic right now because he has been a hot topic.
Alberto,
they do that to sell, but I don't think it's our fan base that is like.
Alberto, you are on Twitter. So you know what, you are on Twitter more than me, or for longer than me, okay? Because I'm not a Twitter. Last week, okay, one of the biggest shit talk about Juventus, because one, it can be Ziliani, the second one is people from Napoli, the third one is Pistocchi, okay? And even if it's Italian, I think you know what I'm talking about, okay? And Giulio knows for sure, okay? Become the hero of the 50% of Juventus fan base because you say, for sure Allegri is leaving. Mm-hmm. So just for that, Pistocchi was that is coming out in this day with a book against Juventus. Okay, if you don't know, guys, about that, probably is going to sell 4 copies, and 3 is going to be in Napoli and 1 is going to be in Rome. Okay, and for 24 hours, he became the hero of the 50%. So I love that you're positive about that. Honestly, I'm so frustrated. And I'm sorry because I'm not.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not positive, and I know very damn well, and I say it all the time, what the media does to fuel this Juve chaos, and they want to create chaos amongst Juventus and even Juventini and whatnot. I'm just saying I don't see a difference in how our fan base reacts to other fan bases on all the teams that I've seen and friends that I know that support their clubs. I've seen it with my friend who supports Bayern, and rumors and rumblings and the Premiership, all those teams, their fans, I've seen it all. I don't think the fan base is changing. I think they might be becoming, and to be honest, I actually would go as far as to say they're starting to become more aware this year because of all the circumstances Juventus faced in one season.
Hopefully.
I think this has actually been a great season for Juventini who aren't accustomed to what it's like that Juve faces and the bias that is against them always that we've known. This has been a great year for them to actually see it firsthand because we saw it throughout the year.
Guys, what happened?
I agree with Alberto. I agree with Alberto. The difference is one and simple and plain. We are always in the spotlight. Period. So whatever arguments, whatever divide, whatever you guys see, it could be like on Twitter, on Instagram, podcasts. It's amplified. It's very amplified, because they don't show how Inter fans or Milan fans talk about their coaches and what they would do to their coach if they win or don't win. Like, we're always up there. And so we notice, we're frustrated, we look into it, and we notice these kind of things. Then Allegri has been one of the biggest, dividers, of the past, 5-6 years. Right now, I could play like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and play both sides. I can find you arguments to support Allegri and arguments to hate Allegri myself. So I mean, this is what it means to root for Juventus, to be Juventus. But going back to what I think Matteo's frustration is, and what he's trying to say is that we need to try to be united and not go against each other on this stuff. We had members that told us, we're not going to sign up with you guys till Allegri is the coach because we're not going to spend $40 on a membership.
Yeah.
Just crazy,
Yeah.
So
look, I've actually heard a lot. I'm not going to watch this year or whatever.
Giulio and I grew up in Italy, okay? So the anti-Juve, it got worse in the last 6 to 7 years, I would have to say, okay? 10 years, let me say, okay, about that. But just a recap, and then there's a topic that we should talk another time because we're already going longer than expected. We have Bastoni at his wedding chanting anti-Juve chant during his wedding, okay? And people from Gazzetta said that Chiesa was one of the chanting people, okay? So the Chiesa manager has to come out and say, no, Chiesa was not even on the manager, okay? We had Italian athletics won the Europe Cup. That is basically one of the biggest competition for athletics team, okay, in entire world, like in Europe, and it's the first time ever we won this, okay? We have the athletes that are paid basically by the state. They said maybe by all the citizens, okay, chanting anti-Juve song during the celebration, okay. If you want to see the video, you just go on our Twitter account and you're gonna see the video, okay. We see everything coming out and it's gonna interpret it against Juventus. Yes, amici di nessuno, like you have the banner over there. At this time, I'm Italian. I'm telling you, I'm not supporting the Italian national team. I cannot do anymore. I'm tired. And that's why I would love to see all the Juventus fans do spending their time and not fighting against each other because you want Locatelli, I want Fagioli, okay, for making an example. Because at the end of the day, if Locatelli plays, I'm fucking rooting for Locatelli, I'm fucking rooting for Juventus, Look, they need us. You just see what's happening with TV rights in Italy, okay? They wanted to fuck up Juventus, okay? Juventus have for one time, and they stick together in Italy, okay? They started unsubscribing for all the pay TV, okay? Hey, they were looking for 1.2 billion euro, okay, for selling the TV right for not the next season, for the following 3 or 4 or 5 seasons, okay. The maximum offer they got from DAZN, Sky, and the third one I think is Mediaset is 550 million, not even half. So that's showing that they need Juventus, because what Gravina they said, Calcio is back, Calcio is not back, Calcio was lucky.
Yeah,
culture was like, and for example, someone in the chat say we need to get back to Conte. Okay, I'm not gonna want to go back to Conte. Okay, but let me make an example. Okay, Conte left on July 15, 16, 17. Okay, with the same team that Conte basically was not able to go past the group stage. Okay, and it didn't make the Europa League final because we cannot go past Benfica. Allegri made the Champions League final. and if they give him like a so. And I'm not going against Conte because Conte, if it's not Conte is there, Juventus is not what Juventus was not going to win the 10. But the narrative around Allegri or around Conte is totally upside down. It's totally upside down. Last thing, the last 30 years, okay, I can ask Giulio, when you have seen Juventus play an amazing soccer, okay, or like an offensive soccer?
Never.
When in the last? No, yeah, I can tell you. The 6 month from when Allegri started playing the 4-2-3-1 going to Cardiff. The 6 month span was the best I ever seen Juventus play.
That I agree. Juventus is not historically a team like Barcelona. We are like solid behind. We kick us in the mid and we always score and win it. But not it's not always like this beautiful way of playing. And Allegri is literally the resemblance of that. If he has good players, Allegri is not a good coach for like average teams. You give him Real Madrid, you give him Barcelona, you give him the Juventus with Tevez, Pirlo, Vidal, Marchisio, Chiellini. Well, he does what he has to do. Like Ancelotti. Ancelotti in Napoli sucked. Ancelotti at Everton sucked. He went to Real Madrid and won again Champions League. There are coaches that function well up here. I think Allegri is one of that.
Yeah.
But we need to give him credit also for what we did this year because he was like, I think any other coach would have, I don't want to say brought us to Serie B, but close.
Regardless of my criticisms that I've had of Max this past year, I will always stand behind him. I will always stand behind him for the fact that he was left alone to man the fort for one of the most turbulent periods in the past while. And for that, I say thank you to him for doing that because there's probably a lot of men that would have said, fuck this, and said no.
Exactly. And don't get me wrong, I wanted Allegri to go right now.
I did too, but I give him credit for what he got us through.
So it's not that I'm saying like I'm super pro Allegri forever, but I need to acknowledge what the man has done and what he's capable of too. We can just dismiss it with a season or two that didn't go well, quote unquote, because this season doesn't even count.
But I do agree with you that he needs a certain caliber of team to really get his football through, because it is pretty reliant on the individuals and whatnot, and he said that openly. So I agree with what you're saying, and even Lichtsteiner said it like 2 weeks ago in an interview. He goes, Conte will build you guys something. Allegri takes it to the next level after that. Is what it is. I want to say what's up to Rick out of the JOFC Melbourne GG Buffon fan club. Thank you, Rick, for the super chat donation. Much appreciated. This time works for you, so we're gonna try to do this more often. You guys have been unbelievable in the live chat, and Matteo and Giulio are great. Okay, and I love hearing from these guys. So we're gonna look to do this a little more. I agree with you guys 1,000% that no matter what, and I've been saying this a lot over the past month because this time of year gets pretty hectic because of all the rumblings and everything, and people they have their opinions and they believe one thing and whatnot. If what I want to happen doesn't happen with the roster or whatever, I don't care, because come the first game of the season, okay, come preseason, I'm going to be there. And I'm going to be the first one in line screaming, shouting, supporting these guys, no matter who's the coach, no matter who's the players, okay?
You better bring your voice on July 22nd, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No matter what, okay? No matter what. And if fans that choose and say, hey, I'm not going to support while this guy's a coach, I do not share that opinion whatsoever. Because for me, it's the players come and go. I've seen great players come and leave Juventus, whatever. Coaches, I've seen them all go through, whatnot. The club will always remain through thick and thin, okay? You want to celebrate the highs, you got to be with them through the lows, and it makes it that much sweeter. That much sweeter, okay?
Amen.
So I'm with you guys 1000%.
Can I close with a book? Vincenzo G, the second leg loss to Inter was all on Max. Yes, but if I tell you that it was part of the deal we got with Serie A, with Figici,
It was part of the what, sorry?
the deal we got with Serie A, to close all the proceedings that were happening.
Really?
I don't know.
That's one of the rumblings out there? Interesting. We might have to...
Can we agree that game was too weird to be true?
Oh, yeah. It was rough.
Can we agree that game was
terrible.
Else?
One of the worst I've seen. Interesting. I have a feeling they're going to be all over you to elaborate even further, but we might have to save that one for next time. You guys, I thank you so much. We went overtime tonight, but these West Coast shows, they're getting some good numbers. Everybody loves it. You guys, thank you. Matteo and Giulio from Juventus Official Fan Club Hollywood. I know that I've been talking to a lot of you in my DMs about the tour coming up, and I know some of us are set to meet in Santa Clara, but if you are going to be in the LA area, make sure you reach out to these guys, and if you need help getting in touch with them, reach out to me and I will put you in touch with them, okay? Because like he said today, special events will be going down in Los Angeles, and you're going to want to be a part of that, but you have to be an official fan club member, okay? So, you guys, is there anything you want to close out on before we say goodbye for tonight?
I hope to see you soon here on the show, and for sure I'm going to see you on the 22nd in Santa Clara.
Absolutely. Look forward to it. Giulio?
Forza Juve, fino alla fine.
Fino alla fine, sempre short and sweet. Forza Juve, fino alla fine, sempre, no matter what, everybody, okay? No matter what. Stay strong, stay united, ride out the lows, because the highs are just a matter of time. Juve will never die, okay? We'll be back. We just got to wait to see when, okay? Ciao tutti, take care.